Appreciate you guys unmuting. Let's go. All right, and let's see. Woo. I'm so excited about everybody being here today. Let's make sure we're having a great time. Let's see where my background there. All right. All right. I'm going to give people a few minutes to get into the house. We want them to come on into the universe. All right. Hey, Crystal, what's up, girl? I know life is good over there. How's it going? All right. We're going to let the algorithms do what the algorithms do. All right. It's great. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Looking forward to communicating with you later. But we about to get into it. We about to get into it. And it's all right. No problem. Don't be sorry. It's all good. We have the information that we need to help people get what they need to get. So I'm going to share my screen so we can, make sure that we're ready to rock and to roll. Let me see if my presentation, all I need is a thumbs up from you, Crystal, telling me that everything is looking so sweet. Let me get back to the beginning. Is everything looking sweet? Let me stop sharing real quick just to make sure. And then let's see what you got. You give me a thumbs up? All I need is a thumbs up. Let you know that my screen is looking good. Okay, great. All right. Well, we got the recording on, you guys. We're going to record this thing. Recording is happening. So thank you. Welcome. That this is part 2 of day 2. Earlier today, you had some really cool insight. I hope that you took copious notes. As I understand, there was great conversation in the chat. The chat is enabled. I think I'm gonna make sure the chat is enabled. You should be able to chat, and if not, then we'll figure something out, right? So, yep. Okay. So chat is ready to rock. So, hey, if you have anything you want to talk about, put it in the chat. I will be asking you some questions as we go. So we want to make sure you do that as well. So I'll be making sure I can check in on the chat. But let me go ahead and share my screen because I got a lot to talk to you guys in a short period of time, right? We got this short period of window, but we believe that by doing these micro, engagement with you, this is going to help set you up for success, right? And so, as a person who is using AI, we want to know that you really have the practical skill so that you could take and become that go-to person no matter what it is that you have as far as your background, right? And so again, we have a conversation, but we also have what's called skill-based lab, right? We want you to learn and do. And this is all about experiential learning. This is not just about you listening to me talk, but by the end of this session, you'll have some confidence around this whole thing about your voice and making sure that now when you put a clone out there, you put your agent out there, it's working as if it was you. All right. And you're not going to just play with it, you're going to actually stay with it. Right. And so I really want to help you kind of get that and make that happen. So here's the path that we're going to take for tonight. It's not going to be a whole bunch, but it's enough to give you a framework. And remember last time we talked about frameworks and why that was important. We talked about having a repeatable framework. That way you can get the better results consistently, right? When you just willy-nilly, you just kind of go in there and just have a conversation without having a framework, you might get a great result one day and then an okay result the next. I want you to get better results every single time, right? I want you to understand that you're having a conversation with this artificial intelligence. You're not just giving it something to do. Write this paper, right? But we're going to show that as we move. So here's what we're going to do. Talk about learning it, right? Seeing it in action, like understanding how that works. I'm going to break down that whole personalization thing, right? Identify the use case. Think about your use case. How can you make this really, really work for you? Not for just your job, but what you do at your job, right? Because you want to be the go-to person, the GOAT, when it comes to this particular thing. And then you're going to build something, create something real. Don't play, here's what I'm saying. When you do something real, reality allows you to think about the thing that you're doing more intentional. All right. And so we want you to do things in a more intentional way. And then you're going to prove it, right? So once you prove it, show that it works, show what you created actually has value. Now you can scale it. You can repeat it on will. And that's where you are powerful. If somebody at your job is trying to figure out, like, how do you make an agent out of Copilot, right? How do you make an agent out of Copilot? Well, you could be the go-to person who figures that out and now go into their enterprise model and show your colleagues how to do that. And then who knows what you might do with that information as you grow, right? But you're going to build your confidence, you're going to have a skill, and now you can go through it where now you can be hands-on with this work, and step by step, you're proving what you learn, right? That's what experiential learning is all about, where you prove it. You're not here just to watch me or watch Crystal or watch Holly or watch Eric. You're here to learn it and then put it into practice, okay? So every major section of this session includes a hands-on activity. So I'm going to be talking to you, yes, but then I'm going to ask you to go do something. So I want you to make sure you open up a couple of things. Now, we started with Notebook LM, right? We started with Notebook LM. That's a Google product. But I also want to talk about ChatGPT because I meet so many people who tell me, yeah, ChatGPT is amazing. It's good. And I ask them two questions. I say, okay, have you personalized it and does it have your voice? And they go, oh, yeah, it got my voice because I've been working with it for a while. And I say, okay, but did you train it with your voice? Huh? Did I train it? What are you talking about? And then that's when the education has to come in, because that's when the framework makes sense. And they're deer in the headlights until I show them exactly what I mean by that. So I'm going to show you, right? See the skill demonstrated live with a real example. I'm going to pick a real example. If you want to put it in the chat, I can use that example. I'll come up with one. Just depends, right? And then I want you to try it. Let me try it, right? So you practice it yourself with your own content. Powerful. Because the more you do something for yourself, the better your learning is going to be. What's going to happen is you're going to be the one thinking about how that should show up in your world. And if it's not working, I'm going to show you how to fix it, how to refine your output. This is so important, guys, ladies. Okay, people, when you don't refine it, then what happens is you kind of come up with whatever shows up. Well, that's not the best option. And I want to give you this caveat. We talked about this last week too. Don't go by what the first iteration is. I was working with a client today. While I'm flying, I'm in the air, right? But I'm working for a client because they have a huge, organization of people that go on these beautiful cruise vacations. And so I'm doing their flyers for them. And a lot of times people that have done their flyer, they use AI individuals and it just doesn't look as authentic. And they was like, how can I put real people into this environment? So I showed them how to do that, but they don't have time. So I had to do it for them. And today I had to do it like 9, 10 times to get it to where it needs to really be. And the reason is because I took the time to ask it questions, then refine my questions, then add more information, and then refine that question. So when you're iterating, you're going to get better and better through the conversation that you're having with your artificial intelligence. Whatever tool it is, doesn't matter. If you can't communicate to it, then you're not going to get your voice to show up. You're not going to have it as relevant in your area of expertise as you would want it to be. And then prove I can do it, right? You walk away with something that you built that you can reuse, that you can use at your will, okay? So you might create a framework of your own. You might create a template that you use. So when you're talking and making or creating something with your voice, I don't know what you do, but let's say you write letters, you write emails. You don't want your email to just sound like anybody else, but we're going to practice it real quick. All right. So the activity is 60 seconds. I want you to think, what's one task you wish AI could make easier for you? Right? Put it down, write it down right now. All right. Don't overthink it, right? Just think of something real quick and put it down. All right. So let me go over to ChatGPT. If it doesn't quickly go over, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back into the group, then I'll reshare. All right. But I'm hoping that it does it. But a lot of times it doesn't go across. So I'm gonna stop right there, and now I'm gonna go back. Okay. So let me go back, and so I'm gonna share again. All right. And now I'm there. Sound is there. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So when you're using any tool, but we're going to use ChatGPT. Over in the bottom side of it, right, you have your information, right? And it says personalization. This is so important for your voice, okay? This is how you get your style, your tone, and your voice. Now, we showed you LM earlier. Now I want to show you this. Now, you're going to set it for how it wants to respond and how you want it to respond to you. There are characteristics, right? Warm, enthusiastic, header, okay, list, emojis, fast answers or slow answers. You can turn it on and off. Suggested prompts, it'll suggest back to you. Custom instructions, respectfully and with best solution it has for the situation in a friendly, charming way unless otherwise directed. When creating images, they need to be JPEG images or PNG files for downloading and using online, right? I set this all up, okay? Some stuff I left just as it is. When I wanted to communicate with me, just use D. Hey, what's up, D? How you doing, right? I'm an AI consultant. I have an AI consulting company. I'm working with AI consultants and AI enthusiasts every single week. All right. And so I put my occupation. And this is where the key is for most people, they don't do. Right here. More about you. You want to put your bio in here. You want to put information about you that most people don't know, right? You want to put your job. You want to put your background. You want to put maybe, a summarized understanding of who you are in your voice. This is where you really, really get it to do some things, right? So I wanted to know like what I do. I wanted to know that I wrote a book, that I had, workshops, that I have an actual signature talk. I wanted to understand my talent. I wanted to know my ENTP, which is my Myers-Briggs type indication, right? Indicator. So what I want you to do is I want you to open it up, go to personalization, and I want you to make sure you've gone through this particular thing, because this is where your voice comes alive. All right. It needs to know that I'm a grandfather, right? I let it know that. I let it know that I'm a veteran, that I was in the Air Force and what I did in the Air Force. All right. I'm giving it my heart, what makes me me. Okay. And then what do I love? Then it's like, hey, I love the beach and I love water. Most people just put a basic blurb right there and they don't go into detail. I'm a grow coach. I'm a certified grow coach, meaning that I teach grow, which is goal, reality, outcome, way forward. I help people get out of the noodle brain and into what it is they really want to do, right? Execution model. And then I'm also an ontological coach, where I ask a whole bunch of Socratic method questions just to help them kind of, what are you feeling right now? What color is coming up for you? If you was this, what would that be? These kind of questions that help them kind of they introspectual, they go introspect. So they think about the reality of their life. And then, of course, I want to give it some other things. You could turn the memory on, turn the memory off, let it personalize it the way that you want it to talk and things like this. So this is all real cool. And then you have this advanced part where, again, do you want it to go on the web? Do you want it to, use voice? Yes. Okay. What are the other things? You wanted to search your library. You wanted to look at what you've previously done etc. This is all part of personalization. And so if you haven't done it, I want you to take a few minutes right now and I want you to go in there. All right. And I want you to personalize it. Upload your emails, a couple of emails that you wrote. Upload, if you wrote a book, maybe you take a couple of chapters and you put it up in there. Okay. If you write articles for, newsletter, go ahead and put that in there. If you are a person who has done a keynote speech, take your speech, get the transcription, put the transcription in there. These are all things that's going to help you make your voice more clear when it works with you. Don't count on the fact that you've been working with it for a year and a half and it knows you. That's not the same. Okay, that is not the same. And so this way you can get better results. Let's say, okay, so I'm going to stop sharing right there to see if there's any questions, any comments. I don't see anything in the chat, no problem. And so I'm going to continue to keep moving on. But I'm now going to go back to the presentation and give you a few minutes to go ahead and do the activity. And remember, the activity is simple. All I want you to do is write down something that's one task that you would love for AI to help you do. Okay, something that helps you save time, energy, money. Okay, because what you're getting ready to create is a teammate, right? You're about to create a tool that works as your side, guide. It could be your assistant, right? That's what I want you to think about as you do this, okay? The more you do these things to set the foundation, the better results you're going to get, all right? So I'm going to go into this a little further. Okay, so AI sounds like a stranger until you introduce yourself. And this is really important, right? You want it to sound like you, but you got to give it some kind of parameters, okay? Professional, but generic, right? You don't want it too much jargon, too much slang, whatever it is. You want to fix more complex tools. It's better for context, right? So without context, it writes in its own default. And listen, the default is huge because it's the large language model of all types of paperwork, all types of things out there, which means it's not going to be as clear with your voice. So here's an example, and I want you to do your own example, but here's an example, all right? Generic output, leveraging synergistic frameworks to optimize. So what the heck is it, right? Functional deliverables and drive stakeholder alignment across enterprise ecosystems, right? Polished, accurate, but nobody remembers it. It's too polished. It just sounds like college jargon, right? But here's what we need to do this week. Keep it simple, skip the buzzwords, write it like you're talking to your team on a Monday morning, all right? Conversational, all right? So without context, again, it writes in its own default voice. Is really generic. It doesn't really look really well. So I want you to do like this. Here's good AI output starts with good context. The more you tell AI about who you are and who you're writing for, the better it gets. So again, hopefully I can go back to ChatGPT. I'm going to jump out of there and I'm going to start a new chat, right? In my new chat, I'm going to say, write me a short post about rabbits. All right. And so it's like, okay, rabbits may be small, but they're full of personality, curious, quick, surprisingly smart. They remind us that sometimes the quietest creatures can bring the biggest smiles. Take a moment today to appreciate the little things. You guys got that? That's what it said, right? And all I said was write me a short post about rabbits. Now, I'm going to take that same thing. I'm going to start a new chat, and I want to demonstrate what I mean by context. Hey, and I'm going to use we talked about this last week. We could use the little microphone right here so we can just talk it out versus writing it out, right? Hey, what's up? How you doing, Chatty man? This is D, and I got this idea that I want to write an article about rabbits. This article should be a rabbit article about, how they help the environment, what they do to why are they even here on the earth, their favorite foods. I really want them to, people to get a real understanding of why it's good as a pet, but then what is the situation when it comes to pets, how people really treat it or not treat it. I want you to, really tell me a little bit more about rabbits and how, where their habitats, where do they live, what's some of the things that they do on a regular basis. I want this to be a short post, right, that I can put into my YouTube channel, excuse me, not YouTube channel. I actually want to put it in my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Facebook page, and maybe X, right? And then I just wanted to really get people excited about why we need to be very careful about rabbits when it comes to having them as pets. Okay, go for that. Thank you. So as you can see, having that conversation, I've given it more context. And look at the output. Rabbits are more important than we think. Rabbits are more than cute little animals with big ears. In the wild, they play an important role in nature by helping spread seeds, fertilizing soil, and serving as part of the food chain that keeps the ecosystem balanced. They naturally live in grasslands, forests, meadows, deserts, underground burrows. They spend much of their day eating, exploring, grooming, resting, and watching carefully for danger. And yes, they love to eat. Healthy rabbits' favorites include hay, leafy greens, herbs, small amounts of vegetables. But here's something many people don't realize. A rabbit is not an easy starter pet. Rabbits need space to move, proper nutrition, gentle hand. And as you can see, it gave you a lot of information about rabbits, and it gave you some, look at this, it gave you even some really cool posts that you can, put these in, right? So respect them, learn about them, and then, you can use this. And now it's ready for TikTok, Instagram Reels. This could be ready for a 45-second voiceover, paired with rabbit footage. So now you got more context around what you ask, okay? So that's the difference, and that's how your voice needs to come across, right? So you can use these hashtags at the bottom to even start other things. I'm going to show you this really cool thing. You took these hashtags, and I'm just going to copy them, right? And I'm going to say, okay, great. Now add one more short post of, I'm going to go with 35 words using the information from the hashtags. And then I'm going to copy them. Boom. This gives you more context, and it gives you something else to work from. Rabbits deserve more than admiration. They need proper care, safe spaces, healthy food, patience, and responsible ownership, right? Learning about bunny life helps us become better animal lovers while protecting wildlife and promoting smarter pet education. Look at that. That's what it generated from just looking at those hashtags. Okay, so hopefully that gives you some real insight about, number one, a generic voice versus your voice. The more it knows about you, the better it will write. And the more context you give it, the more it will look for better ways to give you a more complete response. Okay, so that's what's so important when you're writing an article, when you're doing whatever. You're giving it some context, you're giving it some parameters, giving it a framework, which you're going to talk about again as we move forward. And then that's going to help you really, really get your voice to where individuals start thinking that they're listening to you on a regular basis. Now, I've been posting for the past 90 days on LinkedIn, but it's not me. It's been my agent. I created an agent to do a daily post, 1 or 2 days, every other day, something like that. It's been doing it, and I've gotten great engagement. And the fact is, it knows my voice. So it's writing articles, submitting articles, and then uploading those articles on my LinkedIn page. I also have one on IG, Instagram, that is also doing the same thing, and it's doing it with an image. So you can create this once you get this foundation down. And then think about how much time, energy, and money it could save you moving forward. Okay. So again, those are the things that we want to help you with your voice. We want to help you identify. So let me go back to the presentation. I don't see any questions or comments. And so I'm going to go back to our presentation to continue. All right. And I always like to move this little thing out the way. All right. So let's go. We got about 6 more slides, right? So what else do we need to know about this? Okay. Well, go back. First of all, I'm going to use the framework of voice. That's the framework, right? Because if you use this regularly, it's going to give you better results, right? It's a formula, right? And this is how you get your context. Every element narrows the gap between generic output and something that you actually really send, okay? So I want you to think about this. Let me fix this. I don't know why this thing keeps doing that. It's going smaller than the page, right? So, all right. How should I sound? So you give it some context. You saw I had it enthusiastic, etc., right? Encouraging, formal, friendly, right? That's the voice and tone. What outcome? Do you want it summarized? Do you want a draft? Do you want a Word document? Do you want a table? How do you want it to communicate, right? You want a persuasion. You want it to inform. Very important. Outcome. Intended audience. Who are you talking to, right? You're going to talk differently to a 10-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 50-year-old or an 80-year-old or a professional person versus a person that might just be a mechanic, right? Not to say that they're not professional, but I'm just saying their world is very different. You talk to a lawyer, it's going to be a little different, right? And so you got to be aware of that. Are you talking to your management, your high rate executives? Or are you talking to your staff or your teammates, right? Very, very important. Clients, students, that type of thing. Who are you talking to? And then what's your communication style? That's very important. Your communication style could really, change a lot if you're not aware of that, right? Okay, I'm still having challenges with the page not going up like it needs to. And then, of course, short, conversational, professional, story-driven. I love that part. I like to write in stories because I like people to get a vision of what it is that I'm talking about, right? And so sometimes that works. Other times I need them brief, bullet points. I don't need this whole context of information. I just need to get to the main thing. And then exclusions or examples. What should I avoid? What should I keep away from? Or did you give me a reference? That's another thing. References, you can add them in, files, that type of thing, to help people get the context of where they're going. So here's what I want you to do. Take a generic AI generated paragraph, rewrite the prompt using voice formula, regenerate the response, and ask yourself which version sounds more like you. So take the voice, here's a VOICE, that's your framework, and go ahead and write a new post. Now, let me show you a quick little thing that you can do. You might want to go ahead and just screen print this page, right? So if you screen print the page, okay, it still keep going forward. It's not on auto. I don't know why it's still doing that, but it's not on auto. But it does that. So what you can do here is you could take this and you can screen print it, right? Print the screen. And you take this, just like that. And then you go over to ChatGPT, you start a new chat, and then you give it that screen print. Please create me a simple framework from this information so that I can have my voice in the prompts on a repetitive uh repetitive let's see, voice in the prompts. Oh, repetitive on a repetitive basis. Do you understand? This will allow me to have you update my context when I give you a basic no context prompt, right? And so what it's going to do is going to read that, it's going to identify with it, and it's going to say, okay, cool, no problem, Dwayne. I can go ahead and put that together for you. And now you could take this and save it, and you can save it in, in your chat, history, or you can save it somewhere else. But I told it to update the memory, right? Remember I told you it knows me? Absolutely, D. What you're building is basically a default DROS voice layer, your voice layer, right? I just did that to show you how you could create a voice layer. And this will now help you as you move forward. That sits behind your prompts. So instead of you having to write, make this conversational, clear, friendly, not too cooperative, blah, 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 right? Every simple line time you give me, write a post about why people should learn AI, I will automatically apply the voice, okay? And that's what it said it would do, right? It's going to do friendly, it's going to use my default information, keep the language clear, easy to understand, make complicated things feel simple. That's my thing, right? Trainer, coach, consultant. Remember, it knows me, trusted friend. That's how I wanted to come across. Why am I trying to accomplish this? What am I trying to accomplish? Teach, inform, inspire, persuade, explain. It knows this stuff, right? And so it's kind of reiterating it and is making it really clear for me. And it says, I would turn the raw thought into polished content without removing your personality from it. Also save this for your default voice framework. So if you should have to rebuild this instructions every time. So it doesn't have to. And so I could simply say, voice this for me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come here. I'm going to put that there. Tell me about rabbits. And look what it did. Remember, all I said was tell me about rabbits, y'all. But I put the voice framework in place. Rabbits are a lot more interesting than people realize. They're quiet, social, curious animals that play an important role in nature. In the wild, rabbits helps plant growth, spread seeds, improve the. So you see that it gave me a better deal just with that. Voice this for me, right? That's the prompt, the precursor. So now you just learn how to do this. Hopefully you put it into action. All right. Stop getting generic results and getting mad at the AI, saying AI slop, AI sucks, AI is this. No, it's not all that. It's an artificial intelligence, and it's been intelligently trained on what we know. So if it's dumb, it's because of what we put in. All right, just keep that clear. It's not creating something on its own. It's a predictive model. It takes what we've already done and says, this sounds like a good deal, and it puts it all together. Okay. So think about what you're saying. That's like calling your own kid dumb and you're the one to train them, right? The craziest thing parents do to their kids, but that's a whole nother workshop. All right. So as you can see, you got a framework, you got the voice. All I did was I copied this pasted in, gave ChatGPT a directive for using it, and I told it to put it in his memory. It put it in his memory, and now whenever I do something generic, it's going to remember that as long as I say this voice. I put that little key in there, right? So you can write that down. All right, so here's the deal. Your first AI answer is usually a draft. I said this earlier. You shouldn't just go willy-nilly, hey, supervisor, here's my stuff. And you did it on AI and you didn't check it. You didn't fact check it. You didn't check it. You didn't reorganize it. You didn't do nothing. You just let it do stuff and gave it to them. That's not how it works. Don't ask AI once and accept whatever it comes back to you. Right at the bottom, it always says it can make mistakes. It can make this, right? Think of it as a conversation. Another thing you can do, and I shared this last week, is turn on the conversation piece. Have a conversation with it, right? This is really important for you, okay? And then, of course, you want to refine it until you get it to where you feel like, okay, this is a great answer, all right? Ask your question, give an instruction, read out loud. Maybe that might help you hear it better, okay? Think about it critically. Give it to a friend. Say, hey, could you review this? Take a look. Refine it, and then correct. Tell AI what to change. Be specific. Sometimes it gets the writing wrong. So you got to be very specific about what it is. Put it in quotes. Sometimes put it in frames. That kind of thing. So it knows more about what to do, right? So what's a useful correction for you or something that you can do? Here are some things, right? Make this simpler. So it'll take a big complex thing, make it simple. I wouldn't say that. That's not really my voice. Try that again, right? And I do that all the time with chatting. I like, try that again. That's not really coming across the way that I speak. Remind yourself of how I speak and try that again. I'll have that conversation with it. Remove the jargon, just make it simple. I tell it to make it, like if it's really like a bunch of really pontification words and stuff like that, I'll say, hey, use simple language that talk to me as a fifth grader. You may not know this, but the average reader in America is fifth grade. Sixth grade, maybe, unless they went to academia to get an academic degree, they're really not doing all that because most people stop going to school after they graduate high school, and the average reader in high school is a fifth grade level. That's what's crazy about going all the way to 12th grade and everything is done in fifth grade level. Because they don't want us to be that smart. They want us to stay behind the 8 ball. All right, give me an example. You can ask it. All right, give me an example first, and then I'll move forward. Okay? Make this sound more conversational. Explain this to someone who knows nothing about AI. Like break it down like a third grader, break it down like a fifth grader, break it down like a college student. Shorten this to a half. Add a concrete example here. Those are the things you can do to really make this thing pop. All right? So more information doesn't always mean better. I hear people doing this all the time, right? Tools like Notebook LM let you build a focused personal organizational knowledge base, a custom brain. Remember, we talked about the brain. Crystal talked about the brain. She talked about this being your second brain, right? AI to draw from. It's like it's drawn from your knowledge. And remember, we can upload only what we want and tell it to only use that stuff. Same thing with ChatGPT. Turn off the web and say, don't go look at the web. Only look at this database, right? You can link it to your database and say, only draw from this. If you're doing some kind of paper, tell it only go to the National Archives. Don't look over here. Don't look over there. Just look in this one place. If you give it an API or you give it an access to some particular knowledge base, use that knowledge base, right? You don't want it just using willy-nilly anything all over the internet. Because some stuff you Google, you'll be like, oh my God, where'd it come from, right? You got to be able to track back to its original area, okay? And so you need to think strategically about what belongs in what you're doing, okay? So purpose, why does this AI brain exist? What job is it solving? What thing is it solving for you, your organization, your company, your business, right? I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and I was telling him, we're working with this company called WellFit, right? And they have this whole big old conglomerate thing that they're trying to turn into something. Well, when I reviewed it, it's a software as a service. It's not just a basic app. but we can give him a minimal viable product as an app. And that's very important, right? The scope. What information belongs inside? What clearly doesn't? Sometimes you're trying to do too much. You pushing it all into AI and say, do this major thing. Would you do that with your new staff? Would you just give your staff like all this stuff? Most people won't. I mean, there are some bad bosses out there that do that stuff. Where are the sources? Which source are you trusted? You got to know that, okay? Are they just going to go out there and just look at anything and everything, or are they going to look at what's accurate that's already been vetted, okay? And who should have access? Who can add, update? Don't let everybody participate, okay? You got to have somebody who's strategically involved with your information, because what's going to happen, you're going to find out that, John does it one way, Sally does it another way, and now you got 3 different voices. You don't want that, okay? You want to create something that's your voice. And remember, bad sources and resources gives confusion. Let me say that again. Bad sources and resources brings confusion, right? And the AI is like, I don't know what you asking me to do. And think about it. A brand new staff will say the same thing. You gave me all this stuff. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Which one's first? Which one's second? What do I pay attention to, right? Don't give it outdated information. Don't give it conflicting information. Don't give it information that you don't even know where it came from. Or you just ask it to do something and you didn't put no parameters in place. That does not work, y'all. Okay? You got to understand that. At the source, figure out where it comes from for the source, rather than continually trying to, get a great response from the AI. And I hear people doing that all the time. Even with Copilot. Microsoft Copilot does not work the same as ChatGPT, or the same as USAI, or the same of any of those things. Okay? It is very simply different large language model. Yes, it talks natural language programming, right? Processing, but it's different. It's like talking to 3 people that come from 2 different parts of the United States. They're going to look at things a little bit different, all right? Or 3 people from 3 places in the United States. All right. So think about what you want to do to fix your outcome. All right. So you had some assignments. You already had one thing, find something that you wanted AI to do for you. Then I showed you a framework, and I gave you the voice framework. So hopefully you use the voice framework. I asked you to do something simple with the voice framework, and then take a piece of that voice framework and then do another simplified question and see how the outcome is different from what you did if you gave it major context. And we talked about giving it major context. Context is king, right? When it comes to the AI delivering you something very useful, right? So something simple, yeah, it can do that, but you want it with your voice, your style, your tone, right? And so would you put all of these things into one notebook, right? Think about what you feed into your AI tool. Now remember, Notebook LM is amazing because why? It's there for neurodivergent learners. You got kinesthetic learners, you got auditory learners, you got, those that very visual, right? So you can create things for all of them. You got audio, right? So we showed you last week where you can create a podcast. We showed you how you can design a video, an information video in seconds, okay? From the same document. Upload the PDF, upload the documents, whatever it is, right? The whole idea is you could take these things and really get some amazing, amazing output, right? But again, ask yourself what belongs. Is it outdated? Has the policy changed? Is it now something that your organization don't even want to support anymore, right? Because you don't want to get confusion from the AI working on something that it has been, it's no longer valid, okay? And then again, unreliable information gives you unreliable answers. That's just the way it works, just like you would with any person. And remember, syntax matters, right? Syntax matters, okay? So put it in the right order so they can understand what you're talking about. And so sample files to evaluate, again, handbooks, because they change, policies changes, right? Guides, leadership guides, and things of that nature, right? Think about all these different things. FAQs, these are really important, right? outdated advisories, right? Maybe even long emails that don't matter anymore, right? So be careful for that. Again, think about it like this: KSR. Okay, that's another framework. Write it down. KSR. Keep it, right? Is it accurate? Does it relate to your brain's purpose? Remember, you're building a second brain. You're building something that's going to work for you while you're doing something more high level task. It's doing this thing, right? Separate. What's the valid content? Does it belong? Does it even matter to what you're having in the content of this context, right? So remember, context, very important. In a different brain with a different job, maybe that'll work, but maybe it won't work in this brain. So be careful with what you put in there, right? Remember, you're designing this, right? You're not just letting AI do it. Let JoJo do it. No, that's not how it works. All right. And then remove outdated, conflicting, irrelevant information and make sure you delete it from your source files. Go into your source files. As a matter of fact, what's awesome, and you can do this too. I have an agent that I created that can go into my email and get rid of all the crap. I get so many emails and I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to find something and I got to go through all this other stuff. So now I'm like, yo, go in there, find this, and then bring it to me. And it'll find it and it tells me exactly what it is. Okay. So that's why you want to create your brain. Now, think about the things that you do in a regular day of your business. Some days you are just a supervisor. Other days you're the coach and the supervisor. Other days you're the coach, the supervisor, and the manager, right? So you got multiple brains that you got to create to do these different tasks, do these different things, right? Policies and things like that, that's resources for a supervisor. Training, organizational, coaching, consulting, that's the learning resources, that's another brain. And then, of course, you got the project management brain, right? What are the plans? What are the decisions that need to be made? How are we going to move forward? What approval documentation do we need? All those kind of things are very important. And of course, this is your key, right? Focused context usually produces better results with unlimited context, okay? Build smaller brains with clear jobs, not one everything brain. That's the difference of what people are sharing out here in the interwebs. They're like, put it all in there, and then you're gonna get this massive thing. No, you're gonna get a bunch of crap. Okay, you're gonna get a bunch of cool stuff, but it's not the best stuff, right? Because think about it. Why do you hire 4 people, 5 people? So you're gonna create 5 different agents to do different things. So one brain over here to do this, another brain over here to do that, another brain over here to do this, another brain over there to do that. Okay? I don't want my writer brain to do my designing. I need a design over here. I need a graphic person over here. So I'm going to create this agent as a graphic designer. I'm going to create this other agent as a writer. I'm going to create this other agent and then I'm going to have them talk to each other and work with each other, which is amazing. Amazing because when I saw my first one post where my agent talked to the other agent with the writing piece, and then it sent the message over to the other agent to create the image, I was blown away. And this week I learned how to do it. I kept refining this context and refining this process to where I created a video from scratch, letting the agent write the script. Then another agent takes the script over and finds like the image perfect, and then takes the image with the script and take it over to another agent and create the video, and then bring it to me already done. 3 different people working on this. I was just blown away. But that's what it does when you do this thing right here that we're talking about. Build smaller brains with clear jobs, clear outcomes. The better you are with your outcome, the better it's going to give you your results, okay? If you're clear about what you want, if you're nebulous about it and you're just talking, you're probably not going to get it. All right, so we got about 10 more minutes. I got 2 more slides. Don't start with AI, start with the problem. Let me let that sink in. What's the problem you're attempting to solve? Okay. The best case or use case Don't start with what can AI do for me? What have you done for me lately? No. Where does the work unnecessarily slow down? What am I trying to do? Where are your friction points? Where are your setups? Where are your stopping gaps? Where are your gaps at? Okay. Because a lot of times your gaps are hiding right there in plain sight. They're right in front of you. And you're like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. And you got your website just sitting out there. I was talking to the guy yesterday, and his website is sitting out there. He doesn't know how many people visited his website till he checks his analytics like at the end of the month. I'm like, well, how many people visited you yesterday? I don't know. I said, how many times did you send them a message? I don't have no way to send them a message. Ah, so let me ask you a question. Your product is $2,500, right? Yeah, it is. All right, if you got 10 people that come to your website and one of them really just needs information to decide, because most people did their research somewhere else and then they come to the website to actually make a decision. That's just product knowledge, right? Well, what if two of them wanted to buy? How much money did you just lose? Man, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you just lost $5,000 from 10 people visiting and two wanting to participate in your wellness, your health fit program, right? So he wasn't solving the right problem. Start with the problem and work yourself backwards, okay? Then think about the task. What's repetitive? What wastes your time every day? Your voice, your brain could work on that while you're doing high level things over here. You personally doing something high level, your brain is doing this other thing. Tasks you don't, want to really do. Maybe you don't even like doing it, right? Or like checking emails, summarizing emails, status updates. You can have your AI do that. Okay. What slows you down, causes you longer to get stuff done? Well, too many meetings. Well, could you do a meeting brief and have a agent, customer service agent, just brief people on the basics, and it could be a voice agent as well. So in this guy, I was saying you could put an agent on your page that answers all the basic questions about your program, and then it takes an order and it gives them the information they need in order for them to buy. Imagine that you facilitated the buy right there from somebody just visiting your website. He was like, "Oh my God, I didn't think about that. Man, that's amazing." Blah blah blah. Well, yeah. Because this could do that. Because a human would do that. Okay. And then what's frustrating? What pisses you off? What keeps you up at night? What drains your energy about your business? I know for me, it's marketing. Getting my name out into the masses has been the thing. I know I'm great at what I'm doing, but how people know me? Who knows who I am? Right? So tasks that drain your energy, not because they're difficult, but because they're tedious. They're in the minutia, right? And then of course, hard to search. What are some of the things that's difficult? Have you ever spent 25, maybe 30 minutes looking for a document? Oh my God, that is crazy. But you can now get your agent to do that. And then frequently recreate it, right? Content that you're doing over and over and over, just create you a template. I just showed you how to do a template. I just showed you how to do a framework by just copying a snippet, giving it to the AI, giving it the instructions, and then creating you an ongoing thing that you can repeat at will. And it's not going to forget. And if it does forget, you can say, hey, remember that thing I gave you? Oh, yeah, the voice thing. Let me get back to it. Boom, boom, boom. And it'll get back to it. So think about this. Answer this question, and then we're going to wrap up. Where does work unnecessarily slow down? Right? There's your use case for your AI. Where is it costing you time, energy that will cost you money? Start with the problem and then work your way up. All right, last thing, and I just want to remind you guys that we have an amazing website. We have an amazing team. Holly, Eric, myself, Crystal. You saw Crystal earlier today. We want to invite you to the Commons Academy. The Commons Academy, we start with you with your archetype, trying to figure out like who are you? How do you show up every day, right? Your archetype. You can go to do that for free. Right now, the courses that we've done over the last couple of weeks, they're up there for free as well. You can access them without, fully, joining in the membership. But we encourage you to join the membership. And why is that? Well, because it's going to get better. And we're going to do more lives. And then we're going to do more events. And then we're going to do actual on-site events. So you can come to one in California, one in Texas, one in New York. We're working on in New York right now, right? And right here, DC, that kind of place. All right. So you learned the skill. I just gave you some stuff to learn. Now it's time for you to prove it. So if you're really, really serious about what you're doing right now, and you're coming back next week, next Thursday, I want you to share this with the guest speaker, whoever it is. It might be Crystal, it could be Holly, it could be Eric, it could be myself, right? Design a simple 30-day experiment to put AI to work on a real friction point that's costing you money, time, energy, okay? Measure it and see what it actually wears the value, okay? Number one, pick your friction point, choose up the repetitive, slow, frustrating task, write it down clearly. Build your prompt. I gave you the voice prompt. I gave you the formula. Use the voice formula, VOICE. That's the framework, right? It gives you the context, helps you with the audience, it helps you with the style, it helps you iterate and move forward. Remember, don't take the first answer, go into it a little bit, a couple of more times until you get what you need to go. And then, of course, run the experiment. Don't play with it, use it, all right? Use AI for the task every day. I have been using it every day since I figured out how to make it work for me. Not me just playing around with it, not me tip-tapping all over the place, but now it's working for me, okay? Note what works and what doesn't, and then duplicate it, create it. You can even ask it, say, hey, could you give me a framework for what I just did on this whole thing? Because I've been working on this for 6 days, or 3 hours, or 2 hours. And then we'll look at everything that you did and go, let me give you a framework, okay? And it's pretty powerful. Let me show you real quick. I got 1 more minute for that. Okay, so I'm going to go to something I was working on earlier. And I told you, you guys, that I was working on a flyer, right? And so I believe this may be it. All right, so I'm working on this flyer. And I've been working on multiple versions, because there's one for the comedians, one for the people that's going to be, what the heck am I trying to say? The performers and stuff like that. So I want to go to flyer edit requests. I think it might be here. All right. So when I was messing around, going back and forth, I said, hey, could you create me a framework for all of this? So now I can use it in the future to create multiple, okay? All right, so I really wanted to show you this. It's taking too long for me to find. I thought I could put my finger right on it since I did it earlier today. AI skills for lab newbies, edit requests, test feedback. Okay, it's probably in here. I just didn't take time for me to find it. Oh, here you go. Boom. So master event flyer template prompt. See, I had done all this work with this thing, and I said, you know what? Okay, this is perfect. Now generate me a perfect prompt so that I can use this as a template for future awesome flyers. Thanks. Add brackets for reuse of the prompt. That is so key. Next week, I'm going to come back and show you how to do this. This is powerful, y'all. Okay, so you got a master event flyer template. It's created. It tells you where to put the brackets, how much. Imagine that you was trying to do this flyer. Ain't no way you would have came up with all this stuff. And it gave me all of it. I was like, oh, and one additional strongly recommendation. At the very top of the prompt, whenever you're editing an existing flyer, rather than starting over from scratch, add this one statement. It says important. This is an edit of a flyer, not a redesign. Preserve the existing layout, people, faces, background, topography, colors, logos, event information, positioning, overall design. Only change the specific items that are requested below. Everything else not specifically requested for notification must remain visually unchanged. This is a powerful statement. I didn't think of this on my own. It thought of it. Remember, it has intelligence and it's there to help you. So the last thing is week 4, Prove the value. Did it save you time, reduce your frustration, improve your quality? And that's your proof. Then share it with the world. We'll see you next week. Thanks again. My name is D. Ross, Dwayne Ross, author of the book No More Crumbs, celebrating you discovering your tag, your talent, your ability, your gift, and putting it to work in the earth. And I know that I'm part of the FubuCon, the Commons Academy with Crystal, Eric, and Holly. We invite you to come to our page, check it out. Don't play with it. Put it to work. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to say, hey, take care. Be blessed. Do your thing. Go after what you want. AI is your friend for now. We know there's a lot of stuff out there, right, about it. But the fact that it is, you could leave it and not leverage it, or leverage it and become that person, that go-to person who understands you are not obsolete. You will not be obsolete if you follow what we're saying. You are not replaceable. You will be irreplaceable. And what I mean by that, or what we mean by that, is that nothing's going to stop you. Nothing's going to get in the way. You're going to be the person that can show up and say, hey, I know this stuff. I can make this work. Let me show you how. All right. That's 1 hour of powerful information. I hope that was helpful for you. Take care. Be blessed. And we'll see you on the next live. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. Beep.